Made a living in very
integrated home with all sides.
Dianne Andrews in black and white.
Welcome to Dianne Andrews in Black and White, and I'm your host, Dianne Andrews. Thanks for being with us today. When I decided to do a show this week, I thought about it, whether we would do Charlie Kirk or not. It's so many shows about him. There's so many people for him, against him. It's so much vigor that's being going on now. So I asked one of my very good friends and someone who is a professional, because she's a state representative, Kathy Edmonston, who's been on the show before. She's a regular. And what we decided to do, I thought about the Prove Me Wrong series that he did. So we're actually going to show you, because so many people look at snippets of what he said on DEI, on LGBTQ, on black people, and they make a decision on that. Now, if you hear the whole commentary he's doing and you still think the way you do, then that's your prerogative. But if you only hear a snippet, is it fair to judge somebody on just a snippet, a couple of seconds of what you think they did? Thank you, Kathy, for being on the show today.
Thank you, Dianne.
Yeah, we can't reach.
It's good to be here.
It's good to. It's
I
always
always
good.
love being on your show.
Yeah, and I love having good people on the show, because being a black woman, conservative, of course, black women are mostly liberal in this city, and they take this to heart. If you don't vote for a black woman, you know, I still want to be friends, because I don't think this is all of my life.
Right.
Politics.
Right.
And you've got, what's his name, James Carville, married to the Republican who worked for Bush. What was her
name?
name?
Understand how they could get along in the same household?
I don't believe she says anything about it anymore.
Oh, I don't
You
either.
never see her anymore.
Yeah,
What was her name? I don't remember her name.
I can't remember her name
Yeah,
either,
but they've been married for
yeah.
20-something years.
They
They got
have.
some pretty
They
children.
have. Yeah.
Have you seen their daughters? They're gorgeous from him.
And
That's
he
amazing.
hardly, he's not on much either.
He's been on lately about Trump and about some of the woke stuff.
Yeah, he has.
And telling the Democrats what they're doing wrong. So the Democrats don't want to hear that,
That's
right? What they're
yeah.
doing wrong. But so what do you think, Kathy? Let's just listen to some of the things he said on this show, and then we can kind of give our opinion of what we think he said.
First of all, we want to say for sure that we're praying for the family.
That's
I mean,
right.
what a travesty for this young mother and her 2 children.
1 and 3.
I just, everybody I know has just been praying so much for them. But she is a strong woman.
Beautiful,
Did you
strong,
hear the next day she made that speech to the nation? It was amazing.
Amazing. And then
forgave the man who shot him. I mean, come on.
But that's what Charlie would want, and that's what she said.
Absolutely, that's right.
He was strong in God.
That's right. And now that she's CEO of the company,
that's right.
So she's going to just take
Turning
up,
point.
take up his mantle and keep going.
That's
and
right.
It's going to be greater than ever.
Well, you know, already they were in 2,000 colleges. They have applications now for 32,000 colleges and high schools.
Can you believe
and she
it?
said that. She said, you have unleashed the fury. When her first speech,
That's
she
right.
said, you don't know what you've done.
That's right.
And
That's right. And they're talking about now, we had one of the representatives from Turning Point sound so much like Charlie Kirk, because he trained his people well.
Yeah.
We had a vigil. It was in Livingston Parish, and he came down and was talking. Yeah, it was Sunday night a week ago. And he was talking about, I said, could we get them in high schools? We need these things in high schools.
They're doing it in high
not
school.
just colleges and universities. He said, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they're
We're doing everything we can to start those. So we in Louisiana need to
I
get
think
to them and
we'll
say,
have a
look, we
go-ahead
want them
green
everywhere.
light here with Jeff Landry being governor.
Absolutely.
Now, a lot of states are not going to allow, 25 states are run by Democrats, 25 are run by, run by Republicans. And it's just so divided in this country. I just did a show a couple of weeks ago with Mayor Edwards. What a great man. God-fearing man.
He really is.
And believes that he's ordained, sent by God. For that position as mayor. Do you know our homicide is already down 23%?
No, I didn't know that.
And non-fatal shootings are down 33%.
Wow.
I read his...
Aren't you on the commission?
The transition team. I was on the healthcare part.
Yeah.
We're trying to get a mental health hospital here because we need that.
We need it so badly.
Because people, like the guy who killed, I did 3 shows with a Ukraine lady. She's a PhD biophysicist. She has her own business. She came here from LSU. And she was trying to get a daddy here, and we were talking about ways to try to get him here. And she got him here.
Praise
Do
the
you
Lord.
know, In 6 months, he went back, rather be in Ukraine in a war than in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and all the gunfighting.
Unbelievable?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, I think that violence went down a little bit under Broome, but it's still, we're still some of the highest in the country.
One of the major cities in the United States for
crazy. Here, New Orleans, everywhere. And I really have such a problem with New Orleans because you have Ray Nagin and Mitch Landry and of course, all the Democrats. 21 of the 24 major cities in this country are run by Democrats.
I know, and she's going to be indicted or is indicted already.
They're trying to indict her.
I know.
Let's see if it happened. Ray Nagin went to jail, and Mitch Landry, hey, why didn't he go? Is it because he's white? She's going, and Ray went. They all do the same thing, right? Pretty much.
Oh, my goodness. I wanted to tell you this. I don't know if you know, but LSU has announced that they're going to start a series of these things that we're talking about, these little YouTube things of his.
Oh,
they're going to have a lecture series and show those.
Oh,
so
right.
That's,
I'm
praise God for LSU. I am too.
As liberal as they are.
I am very glad they're doing that.
I'm surprised they got it through.
Yes.
Well, let's get to it, y'all, and let's. You're going to hear this, but on the screen you'll be able to see it.
Check it out.
You can hear it now, but
See what this takes us, guys.
Give me your perspective on DEI, and because based on what I heard earlier, I feel like you don't think I belong here.
Oh,
because
really?
Of
Why?
How I am a black man, and because of DEI, I'm not qualified enough.
Are you?
To be here? Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Then you belong.
But why do I have to prove that to you?
You don't. You brought it up. I didn't.
Okay, but can you explain to me your position on DEI?
Yes, people should not be in positions just because of the color of their skin. Hard stop.
Okay, but do you feel like I'm here because
I'm not feeling anything towards you, actually.
Okay,
I'm not prejudicing you. I'm not stereotyping you. I'm saying that it's a material.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
No, you are. You said I don't feel comfortable being here. You started with.
I didn't say I wasn't comfortable being here. I said I feel like you made it to where I got here through DEI.
So let's examine that. What have I said that makes you feel that way?
When you mentioned how DEI is only just putting people of color and marginalized groups in spaces, even if they're not so and so
correct. That's exactly what DEI does.
But that's not all that it does. You're categorizing it as something it isn't.
No, that's exact. That is the charter missions.
That's not all.
Okay,
that it
so
does.
diversity, equity. So equity is outcome.
just to be candid, DEI helped out white women and LGBT people more than minorities. It's like the old EEOC when you had quotas that we talked about, but they added the LGBTQ.
That's right.
The United Airlines president said that Joe Biden's administration, Kamala Harris, put a DEI quota on them of 50% of all pilots had to be either female, gay, or black. I don't believe in it, and I worked for IBM. I started at 19 years old with a degree in mathematics and chemistry, and they gave us a test. I was a program on the space shuttle at first, but I have a DEI story of I did some work for Avis Rent-A-Car with IBM. And the guy looked at me and said, I could tell, he said, look at this, who they sent up here, right? Because I looked 10, you know, when I was 30, 25.
Mm.
But by the end of the third week of us doing it, we all went out to celebrate. We had to present to the vice president of Avis. And he said, wow, you really knew what you were doing. I could tell walking in he didn't think I did. And it was middle management, you know, was all white. And he said, but you do. I said, tell me why you thought that. And he said, because I'm a black woman. He said, yeah. And he told the truth. I have no problem with anybody telling me the truth. Let's discuss it. And he said, because I work. I said, how many black women you work with? One. I said, was she from IBM? He said, no. He said, but she didn't know what she was doing. She was an EOC high. The same thing will happen with DEI. Even when Joe Biden told told the world, I'm hiring a black woman. That's a DEI hire. That's why people call her a DEI.
That's why
if he said, I
yeah.
am hiring the best, even female, it would have had a lot of people involved in it, but with 13% of the population. And how black is she really?
Right.
She's mostly Indian. But
it wasn't on her merit. It was because of the color.
That's right.
And the gender.
Now, she had the titles of jobs she done.
Did.
She
That's
had
right.
that, just
She
like
did.
Hillary did. But what she'd really done,
Yeah.
and what she really thought, her father's a communist. He teaches Marxism. He's still living. He's 85 years old. She really was raised, I've done shows on this, in Montreal, Canada. She was not raised in California. She left when she was 7. Her mother and father got divorced at 4.
That,
The
yeah.
PhD, mother was PhD and daddy was a PhD. And he taught Marxism. He's a Marxist. He's Jamaican and a little black, I guess. And the mother's all Indian. She's all Indian. He was Indian and from Jamaica.
Well, but we look at the job she did. I
Right.
mean, she was border czar. Look at what she did for the border.
Nothing.
We had so many people come over.
That's right.
Thank God for Donald Trump that
My
stopped
God.
that. We don't even
And people don't give him credit. You know, they want to talk.
don't want to.
15
They
million
hate him
people
so
came.
much.
They hate him, and why? I always
I don't
had
know.
saw this man is going to do something.
Yes.
To take care of this country. Now, and I don't understand how black people hate him so much.
Well,
He's not a
There's
racist.
also white people that hate him too.
That's true.
I don't understand it because he's done more for this country than any president in my lifetime. for
That's
certain.
right. Ever probably.
I know. And so I think he needs prayer. I mean, look, they tried
God
to take
did
him
save
out. They've
his
done
life.
everything.
That's right.
Done everything to take him out.
That's right.
And they haven't been able to do it because of God's grace. And
That's
he's
it.
put him in.
That's right.
And he's going to stay in. Now, Charlie Kirk died, but look at the fruit. Look at the seeds
I think Charlie
that are
Kirk,
popping
God
up.
brought him because for this to happen, because this country
there's
is so many people
undeniable.
don't go to church, and they said they had 10 times,
Church is full.
100
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
than they had. It
Yeah.
was back to the old days, you know,
It's
before
wonderful.
COVID.
It's
It is wonderful.
I hate it for his wife and his children, but I'm telling you, she's got the strength of the Lord. She's
Ooh,
got
she
faith.
is. He knew who to
She
marry,
will
didn't
be
he?
fine. Yes, absolutely, he did. You know, she went in for a job interview.
Yes.
And he said, "I'm not going to put you to work. I'm going to date you."
That's right. That's right. And she was from Arizona.
Oh no,
She was
I
Miss
know.
Arizona, as a matter of fact.
Oh, she was. That's right.
yeah,
I
she
forgot
was Miss
about that.
Arizona.
Yeah,
Mhm. And God put them together, I think.
He really did.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's see
so
what
what
else
you said,
this
okay, yeah.
stupid DEI conversation is.
Equity is outcome-based, is about making people who are of different skin colors have the same outcome,
That's right.
regardless whether or not they are qualified.
That's
the best
right.
example we have of this is the Students for Fair Admission Harvard Supreme Court case, where black students, they did not, literally, they could have a SAT score 300 points lesser than the Asian equivalent and still get
The
into
Asians sued them.
That
Still got a
is
job.
DEI in practice. I believe when you're hiring for an organization or for a company or for whatever you are doing, you should prioritize merit and character, and
Right.
race should mean nothing. We should build around things that matter and not things that don't matter.
Now, I will say something about that. There was a time, maybe the 60s, 50s, that black people needed to have a leg up because nobody would hire you.
Nobody had a problem with that. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
there was hardly anyone who had a problem with that.
Some people.
Well,
white people.
in my, I was raised in a small
But at this point, if you
hometown.
haven't made it, then you're probably not. And sometimes we have to, not sometimes, all the time, you have to start taking responsibility
Yeah.
for your own
Yeah.
behavior and the reason you may not be getting hired. Are you qualified? Did you go in there dressed right? Did you go in there looking
That's
right?
right.
I remember when I first hired at IBM, I made sure I had pumps because they didn't like open-toe shoes. Back in the IBM was
They don't
very
like 'em
concerned. It was
now
like a
either.
bank,
Yeah. Mhm.
and you know, you couldn't wear pants.
Right.
And it was like going to church. You know what I'm saying back then. So and I think things were better then.
They definitely were.
What happened?
I don't know, but I tell you, I just am so thankful for the small town that I was raised in North
from
Louisiana.
Yeah, me too. We're both. That's right. We're both from North.
I'm from
Little
where are you
You're from
from?
Tallulah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's right, Louisiana. But it was
just-
kind
it
of
was a
tough.
small
Now
high
you know my
school.
daddy's white, my mother's black, right? I don't know if you know.
Yes.
And but some things were still kind of tough there.
Yeah.
And
Well, it compared to now,
Oh,
it was easy street.
it's okay up there
And
now.
our children, the social media, it's just,
That's the problem of Democratic and Republican, that like Zuckerberg and everybody, Twitter, thank God that Elon Musk
Absolutely.
bought that for
Yeah.
free and open
Yeah,
discussions
yeah.
and speech.
Yeah.
Because the other guy had it. They showed where Biden's administration had gone in and told Google, Zuckerberg, and all of them, and Google, that they needed to limit like conservative speech on their platforms. Zuckerberg said it about a month ago.
well, we saw it happen, especially
Yeah, but
during
he
COVID.
admitted to it that it was from the Biden administration.
Oh,
and they
yes.
want to talk about Jimmy Kimmel and free speech. And you know, in a way, taking him off did him a favor. He had 5 times more people watching him when he comes
When he
back.
came
now.
back, that's right, yeah.
Just like.
Yeah.
But Sinclair still hasn't taken it back. They have 60. It's 230 local networks.
That,
Sinclair has
that's a
66.
financial decision on their part. You know, they
Yeah.
can do whatever they want to.
I never heard where Trump. They're saying that Trump said it. Trump never said I told him
He
to take
did
him
not-
off.
he did
and Trump
not
probably
do
would have
that.
said it if he
No,
did.
no.
I don't think he did it.
I know he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's
I
see
know he
what
didn't. I
else.
don't know he didn't, but I don't think so either.
Right. Let's see what else they talk about
This
here.
is for you.
Now,
I want you to know.
this.
That's fair.
You have to also take into the fact that black people have only been able to completely legally be able to make profit for themselves for around 60 years. And this is
What?
No. Since
Make profit
segregation
for
ended
themselves?
in
What are you talking
1965 and the
Do you not
Equal Rights
recall
Act in
Tulsa, Oklahoma? Do you
1965.
not know
That's
where
Donna.
Wall Street is? What are you talking
There's
about
not.
exactly?
What's
How did that,
Tulsa?
let's
Donna.
talk
This
about
is
you.
the-
How did that
these
impact
are
you?
the
How did
kids
something
who
that
are
happened
profit
60 years ago
for
impact
60
your
years.
life?
College guys.
We could vote
How?
in 68. That's probably what he's talking about.
Okay.
The Civil Rights Act of 68.
1965.
So are you a
65, then
living
they did
example
one in
that all that
68.
sort of nonsense and you could just act good and, behave well and
Get
succeed?
Fuji, y'all. Can y'all get him? If not, I'm going to
How
get
did
him.
that-
Come on in,
How did something
Fuji.
that happened 60 years ago impact your
Chicago
life?
or St. Louis, there's
all the
black
time.
communities.
How?
Okay.
You're at Texas A&M. You're doing great.
Okay. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So are you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you can just act good
Amen.
and, behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite. If you look in the
Let me tell you, on this one, Kathy, I kind of go with him on this. We couldn't vote.
What does he
until
say?
65, 68. He's saying that it's only been about 60 years where we really had true rights.
Okay.
If you can't vote,
Okay.
that means a lot, right?
Right.
And there was a lot of prejudice. But one thing I do want to say about the Civil Rights Act of 68, they did one 65, voting rights, and then 68, they did one. I'm doing a book on civil rights because why blacks can't swim. And I found out, I didn't know this, and they don't teach us this. In 1968, Johnson was president. The last big stand that King did was St. Augustine, Florida. He did three things. He did what they call a swim-in the hotel there, where blacks jumped into the hotel swimming pool, and the manager got them out with a gun, okay? Told them to get out of the, and they threw lye in the pond. So he's got a point about the last 60 years. And then they went out to the beaches and did what they call wade-ins. I'm doing I have a show out there on the way. I did one. They did a called Black Monday in Biloxi, Mississippi, and at the museum there, they have a whole place designed for the wade-ins, where they went out and they went to the beaches. They wouldn't let us swim. This is talking 68, 69. They went and they pulled us off the beaches, okay? I interviewed a guy who was there. He was a teenager. And they put him in a paddy wagon. They tried to shut the door on the ones that they put in there, and they made sure there was a white guy next to him. You know, everybody white wasn't bad. Now, Jewish people really helped black people a lot in civil rights down in the 60s and early 70s.
Right.
So, and he talks about what happened to him during that time. So he's got, especially down south, I think everything was all, New York, blacks
Heightened there.
yeah, it was always heightened
in the
down south than it was up north.
I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah, this book I'm writing, but I have like I said, I'll send you a link to that show, Why Blacks Can't Swim, that I did in Biloxi, Mississippi. But I didn't know this either. After the St. Augustine, he did a sit-in. We always saw the sit-ins on TV, but you never saw the swim-ins and the wade-ins that they did on the beaches. Never. I don't know why they didn't allow that, because even the 68, all the Civil Rights Acts still did not give us the right to swim on public property.
Really?
It didn't happen until the 70s. That's what this book is about, I'm writing. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either until the guy, the man, he was a doctor, the first black doctor in Biloxi. He started an NAACP chapter there, and he was the one who set up the wade-ins. But they were done in Florida, Alabama, all along the coast, even some in Chicago and Connecticut. They did wade-ins. And it was fights. It was fights, and people died in Chicago. Somebody died. That's all in my book. And that's a lost part of history, and it was never noted. But the other part that was lost, and so Martin Luther King, after all this was over, and the blacks had gotten, almost arrested in the water in the pool in this hotel, and he called Lyndon Johnson. And he told Lyndon Johnson what had happened. And Lyndon Johnson said to Hubert Humphrey, I think that was his vice president, he said, we can't have Negroes getting lye poured on them in pools. We got to get this signed. 25 Dixiecrats, Southern Democrats. Robert Byrd was one, who was a Klans member. Joe Biden was a pallbearer at his funeral.
Right.
Friend with him forever.
Yeah.
Two of them, of the Dixiecrats, were Klan grand marshals, or whatever the top people were. And he said, we've got to get this signed. It was 60-40 in the Senate. 60 Democrats, 40 Republicans. Eric Dirksen was the minority whip, supposed to be the best orator ever, better than even Obama. I heard him speak. It brought tears to your eyes. And people say Republicans changed. No, they didn't. All 40 of those Republicans voted for the Civil Rights Act of 65. The longest filibuster before Cory Books was white Democrats called Dixiecrats. You can look up the word Dixiecrats. You'll see it.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They wouldn't vote for blacks, and they talked about it 11 days in the Senate chambers. So it was the Republicans, 40, and then they had about 20-some white Democrats up north who voted for it. That is how the Civil Rights Act of 6, and I don't know why that's left out. I talk to people about it all the time. I tell, go look it up.
So Republicans did vote for that.
They voted. That's the only reason we're voting today is Republicans, not Democrats.
Well, and how about the Ku Klux Klan and all the stuff that they say about
it's
at
all
the very
a lie.
beginning? It's all really a lie that it was all Republicans, because it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Was not.
No, all Republicans signed it.
I know.
They voted for it.
That's
and
crazy.
Over 30 some Democrats did not. A few of the northern people, but all the southern 25, and they call them Dixiecrats.
Yeah.
And that was left out of history books. And then people
lot-
all the
a lot
time
is
about
left
what
out
really.
of history
But you know what
books.
Johnson said after he signed it? Niggers are going to vote Democratic the next 100 years. And that's what he called us, niggers. So people need to really read their history. I try to send that out as much as I can. I tell people, go look up Dixiecrats. But I'm not that big, and a lot of people don't know what really happened
They don't know
in the
that.
68. Go over to Biloxi and look at that museum on River Road, right down from the Boulevard.
Wow.
So, okay, so that's about DEI.
In certain parts of Chicago or St. Louis, there's black communities being thrown aside because they're not getting education.
Thrown aside? Okay, so I think we can get somewhere. Why have the black community gotten poorer since the passage of the Civil Rights Act?
That's
Tell me
true.
that.
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the
Hold on.
years.
No.
Think about it. So they were richer when we were segregated and more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
That's
Yeah,
one
no one's gonna defend
example.
what happened in Tulsa again. But let's talk about
Yeah, I
it.
wouldn't expect him to. Like, just understand this here. Even like, regardless of what people may have perceived, specifically Charlie Kirk, I don't really perceive him as someone like that. So I fully, completely understand why he came out here and kind of pointed out that I'm not going to defend what happened in Tulsa.
Until you can't.
No.
It's not
No,
defensible.
absolutely not.
Of what
Right.
happened in Tulsa. So I respect the fact that he pointed that out.
But let me tell you, growing up, my grandfather owned like 500 acres of land up there in northern Louisiana where we're from. He was up near Arkansas border. Beatman,
That's where I was.
Crossett, up that way, toward that way.
I was 5 miles from the Arkansas border.
Yeah,
and
I was
still there.
close to going the other way on 165 in Marouge. But they used to call him Mr. Fudge. My mama told me.
Yeah.
And he had a mill, a sawmill. And, white people would use his sawmill. But they came from, I think it was North Carolina. They had horses, they had wagons, they had made themselves, and her granddaddy was there too. So we're talking about, 150-year-old people back then, right? Some of them that came, but they respected him because he was a businessman. I used to go out and help him plant little trees on his land. So a lot of it even back then, but we have had a deficit. But now that's a very good question. Why are we doing worse today? Because Democrats set it up, and they did, that a black woman...
Did he reference St. Louis? Is he reference St. Louis?
Yes, St. Louis is such a good
Democrat
East St.
mayor.
Louis. 24 cities, the largest 24 cities in this country, 21 have been Democratic run
That's
for
right.
over 50 years.
That's
Chicago
right.
for
That's right.
150. And New Orleans probably for 150 since they've been around. Democratic run. And the last 10 years, our cities have gone. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I went to L.A. to visit my aunt recently, and I couldn't believe what I saw in L.A., how nasty it is. And when
Such
I got
a beautiful state.
oh my God,
Such
a beautiful state.
cities.
If anybody elects Gavin Newsom, go take a look at
Oh, my
California.
word.
You're walking over Boo Boo downtown San Francisco, which was the prettiest city in the world before.
I know.
But what they're saying has a lot of truth into it about that part of it. Yeah, Tulsa. Nobody's gonna say how great Tulsa was. That was low down white people. That's who did it. I just tell it like it is. I call it like it is.
There
that
are
was low
plenty
down.
in the white race, and there are plenty in the black race.
That's right, in both of them.
All people are created.
That's right.
in God's image.
That's
and we've
right.
got evil in the world. I mean, there are several basic things. That's what was so good about Charlie Kirk. He just made common sense.
And people take snippets of what he said, because like the example I gave, United Airlines pilot, Joe Biden them gave him a quota to hire blacks, women, and white women and gays, 50% when they have 19%. Yeah, with 13% of the population. So if you and they gave it to him in the next 4 years.
That run of pilots and planes crashing and stuff until we got our new Department of Transportation person in.
Yes.
And now it's kind of clearing up. That's why.
But I'm gonna tell you, when they ain't crashing now, but Lord, are they late? It is a major problem with these airlines.
It's a problem.
I spent the night in 3 or 4 airports the last couple of months.
I totally agree.
And it's a mess. And I guess he's trying to do the best he can. The problem is that they had all these, their deficit, I think it's 1,500 FAA controllers they need. And Biden them hired 0 is what the problem. Pete Buttigieg. They didn't hire anybody. So how do you get these people overnight? Because it's a it's a tedious course to take.
It really is.
Okay, let's see. Again, you all, right now, when you all see it, when they see this, they'll see the actual this on the screen.
Right.
We're talking about a lot of different cities. We're talking about Chicago, Tulsa, but let's again, this is a very important point. So do you think the fact that 70% of black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important?
That's because of the culture.
Now that's blacks clapping about that.
Interject.
It is a
How does
culture.
the white culture impact the fact whether or not a black dad stays around when he impregnates a
I'm not
woman?
saying it's the white culture.
What is it?
The culture
black
that has
culture.
been perpetuated through the 200 years of slavery, the 100 years of segregation, and Jim
Can't
Crow
keep living
laws.
on
The
that.
marriage. So I got to interject again. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt too much. But in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, 20% of black youth had a dad around. Now it's 20% were single fathers, 80% had a dad around. It's been inverted.
Yeah.
So we actually have seen black dads run away from
This
their
is what
kids.
that's how he does lose his point, the black youth there, because and my mother in our little hometown of Rouge, she said, they had a downtown with all these black businesses, the black barber shop, the black restaurant, all the businesses were black. And once integration came in, then blacks moved to different places and moved in where the white people live, right? So you helped cut down the black business growth, I think, and some of that. We needed integration.
I agree with that.
We needed integration, but we should have stuck to where we were living, I guess.
I remember we had a lady who worked for us. She was like family. She was a black lady. And I remember when I was graduated, I was my first, second year in college, I believe, when our schools integrated there. She was just so upset about it. Every black person I knew up in that area was upset.
All the principals lost their jobs.
They did. It was to me really a bad move. And
I think we needed integration, Kathy, for us to
we
know each
probably
other, because a
but the
lot of
way
people didn't know
they went
black and
about
white.
It was just not good. Yeah, it was not good.
Well, the way
up
they
there.
handled it,
That's what I'm saying.
because the white people who were over put their people in all the key positions, and all the black people lost their key positions. That's what I thought.